Welcome back to Vlogmas. I can't believe we're on the second to last week of Vlogmas. That's so insane. December has gone so fast. But today, I'm pretty sure Aidan Watson did this idea first. I love watching his channel, so make sure you go check that out. I'm going to be ranking every concert I've ever been to. And let me tell you, I do think there'll be a range. Okay, I feel like I've been to a lot, considering I only started going to concerts in 2019, and I'll kind of let you know what year and what tour if I can remember. Okay, so first we have best concert I've ever been to. So essentially this is for the best concerts I've ever been to. Like, that's self-explanatory. Next is Perfection. So they're not the best concert I've ever been to, but they were like perfect, they were really good. Next we have Glad I Went. So by that I mean, like, you know what, I'm glad I went. It wasn't the most amazing thing, but I'm glad I went. Next is Low-Key Wouldn't Go Again. I guess I can explain that as I get through the video and put some in there. And the bottom tier, which I actually off the top of my head know I'm putting one in there, which you'll see why when we get to it, is worst experience of my life, because it actually was. That concert actually inspired that category, so you'll see when we get there. Okay, so we're going to be going in chronological order. I hope I've not missed any out. I don't think I have. But I started to go into concerts in 2019, and then obviously, you know, in 2020 COVID happened, so then I started back up way at the end of 2021, and then here we are now. So the first ever concert I went to was a band called Chapter 13 that I discovered through Britain's Got Talent, and I was really obsessed with them, and they were like the same age as me, so I was just like loving them so much. They have broken up now, so it's kind of harder to say. This was the only tour, I'm pretty sure, and they broke up in, like, honestly 2020, 2021. At the time I would have said this is the best concert I've ever been to in my life, because I was like 15 or something, I think, and it wasn't bad at all. It was amazing for the time, but because I've experienced so many more concerts now, I just feel like I can't put it there, because it doesn't feel right being there with the other ones. Like, they were great, don't even get me wrong. I feel like if they stayed together they would have gone places, but they haven't, which is why I don't even feel like I can put it up there. Perfection, it also was perfection to me at the time, but I think I'm gonna put it in Glad I Went. Well, actually, it was a good first concert experience though, because I got Barricade. I've never got Barricade again. I mean, I've gone to like bigger concerts too, but at smaller concerts, never got Barricade anywhere near it, and I've never had as good of a view of that as I have there. So I'm not sure if I should put it in Perfection for that, and also because I was like fangirling so hard and I was like having the time of my life. Actually, no, I'm putting it in Perfection. I feel like if they were still together today, they could end up in best concert I've ever been to with a newer tour, but they're not. So I'm going to put them in Perfection because it was a perfect first concert. However, moving on to the next concert, it wasn't the first concert I ever booked. I actually booked that like a month prior. That's when they announced it. Then I went on it in August. And then I saw Youngblood when he was a smaller artist, which is so crazy, in 2019 at the O2 Ritz. The O2 Ritz is the only venue I haven't been back to for anything. I don't think nobody's been playing there. I'm not sure if it still exists or not. When I'm ranking the concerts, it's not just, oh, was the performer good? Because all of the people on here were good, especially like at the time too. But it's also more just the experience as a whole and different factors going into it. So for Youngblood 2019, I was at my first like proper concert, if that makes any sense, but it was my second ever concert. First concert I ever booked, I had it booked from earlier that year, and then it was November. I mosh pitted. I was again like 15, and I got like elbowed in the nose and punched in the back of the head, not on purpose. I was just in a mosh pit. I do love mosh pits, to be fair though. I'm a very like peoply person, so I don't really like mind that. It's quite fun, to be honest, but I did get some injuries. I just don't remember the concert that much, and the people I went with, I don't really talk to anymore. So I would definitely go to Youngblood again, and as you'll see later on in the list, I did. But I'm just unsure where to put it, because I would have said Perfection at the time, but I just don't remember it. Because I don't remember it, I think I have to put it in Glad I Went. But I'm sure he was Perfection. I just remember not being able to see very much because everybody's tall and the O2 Ritz was only standing. So like, that's always my issue. With standing, I always just have the tallest bitches in front of me. And it really pisses me off because I'm 5'2". I just want to see. You can see from the back of the venue. I can't even see from the middle. Anyway, Next we have Melanie Martinez. I went to this a month later in December 2019. It was the K12 tour, and I loved K12 so much, so I was very, very happy to be there. The performance was a 100 out of 10. It was magical. However, I promise we're gonna get some higher ones, don't even worry. But so I was very new to concert going, as you're aware, and I was literally 15. So because it was December, I was like, I'm gonna wear a hoodie. Says nobody ever to a concert. I promise you never do that. Or, you know, wear a shirt underneath and take it off and tie it around you. And I didn't wear a shirt underneath. I was just wearing a bra or hoodie tucked into a skirt. And I have a video in my Snapchat. I'm not sure I'll ever release it to the public because it's really... I've not watched it in a while, but I think it's really bad. During High School Sweethearts, when I was very excited for, I went down to the floor. I just suddenly felt like I was going to throw up everywhere. I didn't. Don't worry. Don't worry if you don't like sick. I don't either, but I didn't, so I'm not going to talk about that. I just felt like I got the feeling, and then I started getting really hot and sweaty, not in a concert way, in a like I'm going to throw up everywhere way. And then I had to go down to the floor because my eyes like low-key started rolling, so I felt like I was going to pass out. I never passed out, but I was on the verge, so I did end up being okay. And I was just down for High School Sweethearts and a bit of the next song, I think, and then I got back up. But that kind of tainted it a bit for me, but it also made me learn a lesson to just, you know, fashion over health. I would have said best concert. Again, I feel like all of these at the time would have been like, oh, best concert I've ever been to, because I didn't have much to go off of. The concert itself, yes, but me literally practically passing out in the pit, absolutely not. So we're gonna put it in... And then there was just other weird experiences in that concert. I'm just like to that particular show, would definitely go again, but I would not want to experience what I experienced again. So I'm going to put it in glad I went. I feel like that's a bit unfair, but that's just the experience I had. Next, we moved to 2020. Literally in March, so that's the month we went on lockdown, right before lockdown. I saw Max and Harvey. I didn't listen to them as much. I feel like this is such a like 2020 thing though, but I was very excited and I really wanted to catch the bandana, and one of my friends ended up catching it. I was like, oh, should it be me? I had a great time. They are really good singers, and especially live, and they also sang, is it I Like Me Better When I'm With You? And I love that because that's into All the Boys I've Loved Before, so I really love that. That's what I remember whenever I think of that concert, is I'm covering that song. It's one of the best concerts I've ever been to, just because like when it's smaller venues it's kind of hard, and when it's like, when I was younger I wasn't as into as many singers as I am now, and I was still 15. So I'm just gonna put it at low-key wouldn't go again. But I don't mean that in a bad way, because they were great, but I just wouldn't go again. That's not my music taste anymore, and I really enjoyed it for the time, but I just wouldn't go again. Respectfully, it's just not my music anymore, and that is okay. And next we moved on to the only person I've seen more than once in concert, and that is Youngblood. So, you know, post-COVID through 2020 and the end of 2021, I think October or November, I think October 2021, I watched Youngblood. I want to say it was something like Life on Mars tour. I saw Youngblood again. I went with my sister and two of my best friends, Rachel and Isabella. And Isabella is also, we're internet friends originally. We don't live close to each other, so I still kind of refer to her as that, but she's like literally one of my best friends ever. So it's already added to the experience being with my best friends and my sister and getting to see Isabella, because we don't get to see each other much at all. So that was already really good. Going to the concert, mosh pitted again. I had an amazing time. Youngblood concert is an amazing time personally. That is a concert where I like to stand, despite the fact I can't see as much when I stand. I had a perfect time. It was great. However, this was actually the first time I caught COVID from this concert, and I know I caught it from this concert because I started feeling ill from there, but also because my best friend Isabella caught it, but then my sister and my other best friend didn't, so it's just like, you know. But yeah, we both caught COVID. We had COVID at the same time, twins. And that was one of the worst experiences of my life. And I had COVID like 3 times, by the way. I was really unlucky. And the second time was the worst. It wasn't as bad as... The first was still really bad. It was really bad when I had it. But that did not take the concert at all, because it didn't happen in the concert. So this concert, I'm going to put perfection. I was with people I'm still very close with and I love so, so much. And it was a great concert. And Youngblood is an amazing performer. Next, we're jumping into 2022. I'm not gonna lie, no memory of what month this was. I watched Harry Styles' Love on Tour 2022. I watched him in... Was it Etihad? I've been there a few times, so I can't remember now. I think it was an Etihad Stadium, but it was definitely a stadium. I did have a good time, and I love One Direction. I love Harry Styles. I loved my outfit I wore and everything. I really went all out for a Harry Styles concert, because like I've always said, concerts should be like fashion shows as well. We need to put in all the effort for everyone, not just Harry Styles. That's where I decided from then on I would make really cool concert outfits every time, and I try to. This concert was very good. Harry Styles is obviously amazing, but he was in a stadium. So many tall people in front of me because I got standing tickets. I just couldn't, I barely saw him, and when I did, he looked like an ant. I'm actually not sure I ever saw him. I was mainly through the screens because I was so far back and there was so many people in front of me, and I had the tallest girls in front of me ever. It just always happens. Also, it was outside at summertime, and that was the worst my hay fever had ever been. One of my eyes was extremely swollen. I took a video of it, and one of my friends genuinely thought I had a stroke because my face looked so bad, as in like it was so swollen because my eyes were so sore. So it definitely wasn't the best concert I've ever been to. Harry Styles was good, but I feel, and I had a great time, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I just couldn't experience it properly because I couldn't see. I had terrible hay fever. I was far back. So I'm gonna put it in Glad I Went. I would obviously, a lot of these I'll go to again unless they get lower than Glad I Went, but it's just like that particular concert wasn't the best time. Okay, next, this might be a bit of a random one. We have Ed Sheeran. I also watched in 2022, I think after Harry Styles, like not that long after, if I remember correctly. 2022 is a bit of a blur. Wasn't an amazing year for me. We're not going to get into that. But the concerts were good. And to be honest, I feel like it's like probably weird to say, but I think everyone should watch Ed Sheeran at least once live in their lifetime. He's just like the true definition of like a singer, like a performer. He's so good. And he was on a revolving stage. You could see him at all times. I could actually see him, and I wasn't that far away. He was at Etihad, I remember that, but he was in a circle stage in the middle. I love when they do stages in the middle because you all feel like you're close. I could actually see. He's amazing. He didn't have like a band, I don't think. He had one of those things where you record it on the spot. You know, like when Billie Eilish was doing When the Party's Silver and she's recording the vocals right there and then. He would do that with his instruments, and it was just so cool. I had an amazing time. And the only reason I'm not putting it in best concert I've ever been to is just because I'm not that big of a fan of Ed Sheeran. One of my friends invited me to go for free, so thank you so much. It was an amazing time, but I'm not like as big of a fan of him as the others. That's why it wouldn't go in best, but I'm going to put it in perfection because he was phenomenal. I was actually blown away. And I also saw Maisie Peters open for him, and that's how I discovered her. So okay, next we're in like October 2022, I think now. I watched The Hunter, which again is a bit of a strange one. Well, Ed Sheeran's not a strange one because everyone knows Ed Sheeran songs. But I just mean I feel like it's a bit different to the rest of the demographic on here. The Hunter is a strange one for me. I actually just went because we were going for one of my friend's birthdays, and I have heard of The Hunter because it's one of my best friend's like favourite bands for a long time. But I'd never heard any of the songs. I literally bought the tickets, listened to songs, and there's only 2 of the songs I still listen to now. Well, not that much, but like when I come across them, like, wow, these are good songs. But like, would I go again? I'm not sure, just because I don't know, I'm not really into them that much. Of the people I went with, I don't really talk to anymore. So it's just like, you know, I don't know if to put it in Glad I Went. I'm gonna put in low-key wouldn't go again. And it's not even the band's fault. It's just that I went for somebody's birthday. I wasn't that big of a fan, but I did think they were great. But it's just like, you know. Most of these concerts I went with Harry to them. The Weeknd is one of his favourite artists ever. And he got Weeknd tickets for, at the time, his 18th birthday earlier that year. And then this happened in like June 2023, I think, so he had tickets for months. I remember literally putting as my Instagram caption for the post of the concert, "This is the best concert I've ever been to, hands down." Therefore, I have to put it in best concert I've ever been to. It's not the best concert I've ever been to anymore, because there's going to be multiple in this category, but I just remember thinking like, wow, like this was the first concert, well, not the first concert, but like first concert where I was like, oh my god, where I also didn't like faint or something random happened, or I didn't get elbowed in the nose or something. Okay, next is TV Girl, which I went to, oh, I'm not meant to put it up yet. TV Girl, which I went to in August 2023, and as you can see, I'm immediately wanting to put it up into best concert I've ever been to. That is a concert that I want, like, that same concert I would go to again and again. As soon as it stopped, I thought, wait, low-key best concert I've ever been to. Like, it was just so good, the vibes. I've never been in a nicer crowd, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you know, it's really hit or miss who you end up around in a concert crowd, and it just literally depends. That entire crowd seems so nice. I went with one of my best friends, Lucy. We had a blast. I want to go to more concerts with you if you're watching, Lucy. We need to do that. And I do have a vlog on this. It's the first ever video on my channel if you want to go watch it. And I do have a vlog on some of these, so just go check out that playlist, to be honest. But they were just so good. The vibes were so cool. I don't even know how to describe it, but I just still think about it now. And it was August 2023. I've been to many concerts since, and I still think about it. So you know it had an impact on me. I really want to see them again. It was phenomenal. And that was the first time, yeah, that was the first time I went to Manchester Victoria Warehouse, and I was like, yep, this is immediately my favourite venue, and it still is. Next, in September 2023, we have Princess Goes to the Butterfly Museum, now known as Princess Goes. This was also an amazing experience. It was the first concert I'd been to with my brother and my sister. I do have another brother, but he's 8, so he was even younger then. I went with both my siblings, which I just thought was so fun. And the demographic of that band is a lot of, like, honestly 40+ year olds, so it was most, I will never go to a concert that chilled again and that nice of a crowd, if you know what I mean. Just like, I was the youngest one there. I was gonna say by far, but not by far compared to my sister and my brother, but like even my brother was the, like, probably the youngest one there by quite a bit, and he's quite a bit older than me, and I'm 21. So like, but everybody was just gave each other space. It was so nice. The band were great. It was so cool. I wouldn't say the best concert I've ever been to, but I will say it's perfection. Just as in, I just couldn't have asked for a better night. Next, I can't remember when this happened. It might have been December 2023, November 2023. I'm gonna be honest right now, I don't know why. I just don't remember this concert at all. I promise you, I actually don't remember a thing. I just remember being in AO Arena, and again, the crowd was really nice. I was on a luck streak here of 3, was that 3 concerts in a row? I've said the crowd was great. The Louis Tomlinson concert, everyone was actually just genuinely, like, so nice, because everybody gave each other space. Nobody was pushing to the front, pushing for the barricade. Me and my boyfriend were, like, in the middle, closer to the back. I could see him the whole time perfectly because we were stood on this little ramp thing, because it had, like, wires under it or something, so you could, like, stand on the ramp. And we did, and everybody just gave each other so much space. It was not cramped, and it was so nice. And I just felt great. I had a nice chilled concert night with my boyfriend, but I just don't remember the actual performance that much. So I don't feel like I can put it in perfection because I don't remember it, but that scares me because it's Louis Tomlinson and he is great. But I think I'm gonna have to put him in Glad I Went, because I am, but I don't remember it. But obviously I'd go watch him again because One Direction, Louis Tomlinson, my faves. Okay, next we have my favourite singer ever. That is Madison Beer. I went to watch her on the Spinning Tour in 2024. She is obviously amazing live. You already know she has those vocals. She is so good. And I heard both my favourite songs live, so I was very happy about that. And I feel like when you're in a smaller venue, you know, you just kind of expect them to be there with no set and just a band, and that's pretty much it. She had visuals the whole time specific to each song, and she had different points of stage she'd go to, she had different things she'd do, the bunny ears thing and whatever, and it was just like, I was so blown away. And I was also, again, like, at this venue, I was like, wow, this really is my favourite venue, and it still is. And it was just so good, and she was amazing. And just, that was the first time where I went to a smaller concert where I thought, wow, I didn't realise they could actually do, like, they were like, you know, because when it went to the weekend, it was this huge set and everything. I was like, oh, this is amazing. With smaller concerts, I'd only ever been to ones where they didn't do anything with visuals in the back, from memory. I could be wrong. And Madison was the first one where I saw that. Not that they need that, because like I said, TV Girl's one of the best concerts I've ever been to, and they did not do that as far as I can remember. But Madison just did it so well, and that to me, in best concert I've ever been to. And then in April 2024, my boyfriend and I went watching the Kid Laroi in London, so we got to travel for it, so that was very fun. The Kid Laroi, I'm just going to immediately put him to best concert I've ever been to. He's one of my favourites, and he is my boyfriend's favourite singer. He is really good live. But yeah, best concert I've ever been to, because it's one of mine and my boyfriend's favourite artists. We travelled to London for it for the first time in London together, but we only travelled for the concert, so we didn't actually spend time in London. But it was still really good. We both dressed as the Kid Laroi's Fortnite skin, and all in all, it was just a great time. So for that, I'm putting it in the very top tier. Okay, next we have is this my last concert of 2024? It is, and all the rest of 2025, so this year. So my last concert of 2024 was in July. It was Catfish and the Bottlemen. Again, a bit of a strange one for me because I've heard and known of Catfish and the Bottlemen since I was in like year 9 or 10, because everyone was like, oh, Catfish and the Bottlemen. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, who's this? So I already knew literally like 2 of their songs, and that actually might have been it. But I actually mainly went to this, like I don't think I would have gone to it otherwise, because one of my best friends, Isabella, who I mentioned in the Youngblood concert earlier, was going, and we don't live close to each other, and she was like, do you want to go? And I was like, hell yeah, because I just want to see her, and I love a concert. I don't need to know the artist. So I was like, yes, I'll go. So then I found out one of my other friends who I mentioned earlier at the TV Girl concert, Lucy, was going. So I travelled with Lucy. That was great. But then I started to get a headache on the way there. And it was outside. It was like being at a festival, but just one person away, if that makes sense. And it was all outside, which is fine because it was July. The weather was never an issue, but I just got a random headache on the way there. And then I met up with Isabella once we were inside, and that was great. And then the band were great, but I didn't really know that many of the songs. But I already had a banging headache, so this loud music, and my head just felt awful. And then lo and behold, somebody drops the phone on my head because they were on somebody's shoulders, and I already had a horrible headache, and it felt like a brick hitting my head. I'm not kidding you. I think I was honestly crying. I can't even remember, because I had this is why it goes in the worst experience of my life. Actually, like, I'll bring that up every time somebody says, what's the worst concert you've been to? It's that one. Because why did I get a headache? And then why did the phone get dropped on my head? It was literally, like, it wasn't like a phone here going, somebody was on somebody's shoulders. It was all the way up here, like, off camera, as you can see. And then it just went poof, onto the floor, and I already had a headache. So then I literally felt the worst I've ever felt in my life. And I just couldn't wait to get home. I just didn't want to be there anymore. I could not wait to get home. Worst experience of my life. So yeah, definitely wouldn't do again, and would stay home. And I know it's not the band's fault, but I just don't really know them anyway, so. Okay, next we're on to this year. So in March, I went to watch Gracie Abrams, and I actually went completely alone. So that was my first and only concert I've been to completely alone, and I had an amazing time. It was so much fun. I ended up in a mosh pit, and by mosh pit I mean like mosh pit, like a polite one. We were like close to, it was the last song, and we were going out, and then we go back in. Some stranger just grabbed my hand, and she was like this girl, and she was just going backwards, and I already know what that means, like mosh pit. So I was like, okay, yeah, we're doing this. We go in, and it was just so wholesome and nice, and I was alone as well, so it was just quite comforting. Because I was alone as well, I kind of feel awkward going through more, even when there's space. So I just stayed near the back, and I had a great time. And that was going in the best concert I've ever been to. Gracie's amazing. The visuals were so cool. The set with her bedroom and the keyboard and everything, so cool. Next, we have Tate McRae's Miss Possessive tour I went to in May. Let me tell you, when I say this person is such a performer, Tate is the definition of performer in my opinion. She has the dancing too. And as a dancer myself, I adore watching people dance so bad. So the dancing on top of the singing is actually like my dream to watch. This is genuinely what I label as the best concert I've ever been to. If there was another tier for only one concert, it was the best one I've ever been to, it's that one. As soon as I went, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, this tops all the concerts I've been to. Just the dancing and the story through it and everything, and just even the points with like the lighting, like it was just so cool. I literally was like to my boyfriend, can we just book the Birmingham tickets and go again in like a few days? But obviously like money and jobs. But I just wanted to so bad. But best experience of my life, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think anything would top that concert apart from Tate herself on her next tour, because that just, nobody does it like her, I'm sorry. Next we have Lana Del Rey. So obviously this was a very big moment because it's Lana Del Rey, and my boyfriend and I, this was in July, travelled to London and actually stayed the weekend in London and explored London. I've never really been to London, like actual proper central London like before, so it was really cool. It was quite stressful to get there. We did get there late because of train delays and awful traffic, spending an hour in what was meant to be a 20-minute Uber ride, or 15 minutes I mean, turned into over an hour Uber ride. So we missed Addison as the opener, so I was really upset, to be honest, because I love Addison, she's one of my faves. Because I was like, oh my god, not only do I get to see Lana, I get to see Addison, but then I was like, well, at the end of the day, I didn't know Addison was going to be the support at first, so, you know. find out I've missed Addison, but I had a great time. My only thing is I wish I was a little bit closer, but I did have my glasses, so it didn't matter. Just as in, like, if I didn't have my glasses, wouldn't have been able to see her. But I had my glasses, so she wasn't an ant, but she was quite small to me because I was at the very back of Wembley Stadium. Not the very back, but near the back. What did hinder my experience a little bit was not being able to see Addison, and then she brings out Addison sing Diet Pepsi. And I cried because I was already just overwhelmed with a bit of a stressful travelling time, and then finding out I've missed Addison and the Uber was awful. And then I just cried because I was just so happy. I was like, oh my god, I've seen Addison live, and it's not only that, it's with Lana Del Rey covering Diet Pepsi as well. So for that, all of that, it's going in, oh, I've just dragged the wrong one. For all of that, it's going in the best concert I've ever been to. Okay, next we have Billie, who I was meant to see live back in 2020 in July on the When We All Fall Asleep Where Do We Go tour, and then COVID happened, so it got cancelled, and then I just wasn't very good at keeping up with tours a lot, so I just never saw the Happier Than Ever tour go on sale. Was gutted when I found out. And then finally I got better at finding like tour tickets and stuff, and the Hit Me Hard and Soft tour got announced, and then she again did a stage in the middle, and it was just like a square stage. And for Billie, she doesn't, like, you know, she doesn't really dance. Like, she jumps, she's very hype, and that is awesome, and she has the best vocals ever. But she doesn't need to dance, she doesn't need the visuals. She was just on a square stage with, like, the band or whatever, and then the beat visuals on the screens at the top, which was really cool. But she just, like, you know, like, I feel like if anybody else was doing that, I'd be like, oh, like, we could have done this. But for Billie, it, like, perfectly fits her vibe, if that makes any sense. And she was just so amazing, and I swear, I say this in my concert vlog, but I swear she made eye contact with me and smiled, because I just had a straight through look at her, and we were just like, and I was like singing, being like, hey. I had a great time. Of course, I'm going to put it in the best concert I've ever been to, because she is literally one of my faves. Coming up on the last two concerts, oh, Billie was on July, by the way. No, yes, she was at Lana was at the beginning of July, Billie was close to the end of July, and then skip to November. I went to Alessi Rose, which I'm a newer fan of Alessi Rose. I'm so glad I went. She was born for this. She was actually born for this. Please give her a listen if you haven't. It's just automatically going in best concert I've ever been to, because I feel like I've done quite a good range here, but of course there's going to be more in best concert I've ever been to, because, you know, there's a reason I'm paying to go. I like them a lot. I wouldn't just go watch anyone. I know I admitted earlier that I would, but I do have, like, you know, a bit of a limit. Like, I might have to know them a little bit. Finally, we have a concert I went to nearly 2 weekends ago now when I'm filming this. And that is Isabel La Rosa's Psycho Pump tour. I went on December 6th with my boyfriend. I did a Her Face outfit. This concert was so amazing. The only downside was that people would not stop passing out. I've never been to a concert where people just would not stop passing out left, right and centre, and she had to keep stopping mid-song, which I respect her so much for, don't get me wrong. And I do feel really bad for the people that kept passing out, because I don't know if it's due to heat or the lights or anything, but it resulted in her having to cut the set list short, which means Her Face never got played, and they just skipped to I'm Yours. I don't know how many songs was left. I literally don't know if it was Her Face and I'm Yours, but we didn't get Her Face, and that came out on mine on my boyfriend's anniversary, so it was already like a cool date for it to come out on. But then it's ended up being one of my favourite songs. I did my outfit, I based it around it, didn't play. But as sad as I was about that, it didn't hinder my experience at all. She is the second best concert I've ever been to, right after Tate. Again, when I say, like, oh, like, you know, when they have a smaller venue, I didn't think they could do much, but then Madison changed my perspective on that, and then Alessi Rose had a set and everything, and it was so cool. And then Isabel La Rosa had visuals, she danced, she was pulling out the splits and lifting a leg up, and it was insane. Oh my god, I can't wait to see one day what she would do with a bigger stage, but she already owned that stage in itself and made me feel like she was on a big stage. And it was just the coolest thing ever. I think it was literally like Tate's concert, Isabel's concert, and Tate's is only here just because she's, like, you know, dancing the whole time. But I don't expect Isabel to do that. But yeah, that is my concert tier list video of all the concerts I've been to as of so far. And when I saw Aiden do this trend, I thought it was so fun. So please, everybody, go do this trend. Credit Aiden. If I don't know if he made it up, but I've never seen anybody do it before and do it since, so go check that out. Please do it, because it's so much fun and cool to see, like, what other people's experiences are like. Any artists I've put in, like, wouldn't go again, or like worst experience of my life, does not mean they were bad. Everybody I've seen, I only watch great performers, guys. Everybody I've seen was phenomenal, so good. I just did not have the best experience, or it's just not my style anymore. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that I can do this again like next year, maybe in Vlogmas or whatever, and I've been to a lot more concerts, or in a couple of years, and we'll see how it looks then. But yeah.